Welcome back to Lift Talk. This is episode 73. Alex, what is it in Chinese?
Jisha something?
Was it? Jisha-san.
Jisha-san.
Yes, very good. And I'm hosting today. My name is Kelvin. I'm joined here with Alex Hayes and Claudia O'Shea. Is that right? O'Shea?
O'Shea.
O'Shea. Oh,
How long
really?
have we been
It's
working
O'Shea.
together, Kelvin?
I don't even know who you
It's
are.
Irish.
Who are you? But yes, I'm hosting today because I wrote up the topics. What we're going to do today is something different. We're going to do three little segments. Three segments about a few different topics. And let's get straight into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So the first topic for today is if you could only do one lift in powerlifting for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
I'm going to say deadlift. Conventional deadlift. For
Why
those
not?
for those of you at home wondering. Not sumo.
Why not sumo?
Well, for me, I can't really do sumo.
Have you ever
comfortably.
tried?
I did my first comp sumo and it was a disaster. I went 1 for 3 and I've never pulled sumo since.
Why'd you go 1 for 3?
I lost my balance on the second one, and the third one I kind of like dipped at lockout. So like they were all easy enough. I just kind of fucked it up. But the reason I say conventional deadlift is because I think of any individual lift, it recruits the most muscle mass. So I feel like if you're trying to maintain a physique and like an overall level of strength and capacity, I think the deadlift is probably the one that I would pick. I was tossing up like perhaps maybe I pick bench press because then I could still compete in bench press because you can't really do deadlift onlys. Well, you can outside the IPF, but yeah, I think I would pick conventional deadlift. What about you, Kelvin?
So you're thinking of it from like a general strength kind of.
I'm thinking of it like an actual hypothetical. If gun to my head, I'm only allowed to do one lift for the rest of my life, but I have to keep training.
Yeah.
What do I actually want out of training? A, I want fun. I do like doing deadlifts. B, I want to be able to maintain as much of my muscle and strength as I can and like maintain my physique as much as I can with one exercise. And I think that's the best choice.
Hypothetically, right? You could do RDLs, but you can't do deadlifts for whatever reason. Would it still be deadlifts?
Probably pick bench over an RDL. But I pick deadlift over bench.
See, I'd still pick RDL or deadlift. I would say the same, but for the same reasons. Plus, if I'm ever like teaching an older person how to strength train, like the number one thing I'll want to get them doing is a form of a deadlift. Because that is the movement that you need to maintain for like overall longevity and health over like most things. Think about how many times you are picking up something off the floor and your body needs like the strength and exposure to that. And so if you have that always, you're way more likely to live a fuller life for longer.
That's true.
Think about like
That's true.
all of the components of a deadlift, like the amount of spinal stability, the amount of ab
bracing.
engagement, bracing, the amount of like leg strength, the amount of like back strength to hold your back. Like the upper body, the beach muscles don't really get hit as much as I would probably
The what
want.
muscles?
The beach
The
muscles.
beach muscles.
What's like your biceps and your...
Yeah, your chest and biceps.
Yeah.
The charms.
Muscles.
Have you ever heard of charms?
I've got pretty big charms.
Chest and arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think from a like a functionality standpoint, but also like being able to maintain as much of your muscle as you can, plus still being able to do something that's fun, and it's also the lift where you can lift the most weight. So it's like, hey, I can still deadlift X load. I think that's
Interesting.
cool.
What about you, Kelvin?
Well,
I was gonna say something rogue.
Yeah. Here we go.
You were like
Here
surprised
we
by
go.
deadlift. I feel like deadlift was the obvious choice.
initially it was bench press because I find bench press the most fun to do because for me it's the most technical lift, and it kind of like tickles part of my brain when I bench press.
There's the most stuff to like work on
Yeah.
and perfect.
Yep.
And it would be a fun project. Plus also you can bench so frequently
Yeah,
that
just
you can come back in the
every
gym
day.
the next day and do it again. You can't really do that with deadlifts.
And variations of bench press. I feel like there's so
only
many.
one lift.
Oh, yeah, but that's like
No,
so you can't do like close
Nope.
grip. You can only
Nope.
do
competition
that's a different
bench.
exercise.
What?
Pick one exercise.
Comp bench would be
one lift.
I think I
Okay.
still stick to comp bench.
Because then I could be like, oh, I'll do RDLs, I'll do stiff leg deads, I'll do sumos. Like, no, just one.
I think it'd be honestly thinking from a purely enjoyment perspective, bench press. But a close second would be sumo deadlifts because I feel like sumo deadlifts also have interestingly enough, what I've found recently is the more that I deadlift and the heavier that I deadlift, the more technical I've been with my sumo deadlift, which is kind of cool. Like I have been unlocking some parts of my brain about sumo deadlifts that I haven't unlocked before, which is really cool. Like things about like foot pressure and your balance and like things that was obvious and made sense, but I'm able to now digest better, I feel.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that only comes
yeah.
with like time and experience,
Yeah,
right? Because
absolutely.
you are constantly exposing your body to more and more and more load.
Yeah,
so you
absolutely.
have to become more and more hyper aware of things.
But I think bench press, and then another reason for picking bench press is because I get to compete in bench only, and that'd be really fun. I think I could live the rest of my life without squatting. I think squatting is like the lowest of my rankings.
Yeah,
out
me
of the
too.
three, to be
I love
honest.
squatting.
Good for you, mate.
I love
Nice,
squatting.
Alex. Thanks.
If you would ask me this question maybe like 5 years ago, I would have said squats. Low bar
Really?
squats. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I find them like fun and challenging and similar to you with bench. Like I feel like the more I squat, the better I get at like pinpointing what I need to do and improving things.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I
just-
PB my squat by more than half a kilo in 2 years, then maybe I might like it more.
Hey, I haven't done that either.
I haven't.
I
me
still
neither.
love it.
I'm still on
So-
I'm still at 260 something. How about you, Claudia? Or yours?
I already said
Oh,
I
you say
would
deadlift
say
as well.
Yeah, deadlift.
But you do sumo though.
I'd
So
still
would it
say
be
conventional deadlift.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I think about like, yes, I train powerlifting specific, but like long term, I want to stay as strong as possible in whatever form of my body that may be. And I think conventional deadlift ticks all of the boxes in terms of like longevity and health that I would be giving to any older person. If I could tell any older person to do one exercise, it would be conventional deadlift.
I would say, yeah, I would agree. I'd probably say like a trap bar deadlift would be very useful as well.
That's the number one I use. But if
Yeah.
Alex being super hyper specific about
you
what
can
I'm
have
allowed
trap
to-
bars.
Okay, well, okay. Well, you just keep changing.
But if you
the
have trap bars,
rules.
you can't have conventionals because they're different exercises. That's the rules. You get to pick one.
Well, conventional deadlift between the ages of capacity, and then trap bar deadlift if you can't
No,
conventional deadlift.
Kelvin's asking you if you could personally only do one for the rest of your life, not if you could prescribe to clients. Is that
Yeah,
right?
but I'm
what
prescribing
you're
for
asking?
myself.
Okay,
I'm saying conventional deadlift until I have the don't have the
Okay.
capacity, and then
understand.
trap bar.
I understand.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Hey, I said I understand.
Okay.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Well,
Okay, I want to flip this question on its
Oh,
head.
wow. Okay.
I want to flip this question on its head.
I thought I was the host, but it's okay.
If, yeah, good luck. If you could cross one exercise off forever that you would could never do again.
Like like the 3 lifts?
No,
or
no,
you
no.
mean-
Any exercise. One exercise that
many.
if you could never do it again,
So many.
what would it be?
Oof.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Fine. You
Ask the question, wants to answer it.
Well, you guys didn't have an answer, so I didn't want an awkward silence. I'm gonna pick front squats. They are the devil.
Why?
They are so fucking uncomfortable for me. I don't know. I think
That's
I
your
got
collarbone.
really
You know-
tight. I think I got really tight forearms or something. I can't get into the position.
You know what's worse?
Feels
Zercher squats.
horrendous.
Oh,
Zercher's just as bad, but front squats honestly can eat a dick. Hate them.
Clip that. Clip that.
Yeah, thumbs up from
Front
from
squats
Michelle.
can eat a dick, Alex Hayes, 2026.
26th of February.
Huh? 26th
26th
of
of
February,
February.
yeah. If I had to cross off one lift, I'm trying to think of exercise which I think is like completely useless, but people still do. But I can't think
Machine
of
gun
any.
bench?
Hey? Machine
Machine
gun
gun-
bench press is sick, man.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Embarrassment.
Why does
Oh,
Mitsu bench
double
200 and you
pause.
Not
don't?
because of that.
Double pause squats.
Double pause squats, like pause.
Oh, no, like pause on, or like
Oh,
more
at
than
the
one
bottom,
pause.
and then pause on the way
yeah,
up.
Oh,
yeah. I
yuck.
just like, dude, just do a pause squat.
That's gross.
Do you really need to do like double, triple pauses?
I think the thing with me is I will try to find the logic in anything. Like, yeah, that could be some validity to a double pause squat, maybe.
Yeah, true, but we're
Even
talking
though-
about like you doing it personally, the enjoyment.
Okay,
you
something
get
that
out of
I
it.
don't
something
enjoy
that you
doing.
could personally
Me as
cross
a
off
lifter.
and never do again. Because like I think there's value for a lot of people in doing front squats, but me personally, I fucking hate them. And if they're in my program, I'd be really upset.
Yeah, honestly, front squats is a really good one. Like, it would just hurt Zercher squats would just hurt.
Calf raises.
I love calf
I
raises.
like calf raises.
Oh yeah,
also.
but I already have massive calves, so
Oh, sorry. She has massive calves.
sorry.
Honestly, I can't think of one right now. I'm sorry.
All right, let's move on to the next segment. Joel's giving us the
time to
carry
move on.
All right.
What's the next question?
Moving on to our next segment. It is about our own journeys in powerlifting. The question is, have you ever considered quitting powerlifting? Why? Why not? What has helped you continue on?
You go first, Claude.
It's definitely crossed my mind, but never to the extent that I've actually like taken time off or actually quit. I think the feelings of like wanting to quit usually come after a period of like me putting too much pressure on myself for a very extended and long period of time. And it just becomes overwhelming.
You feel burnt out, right?
Yeah. And I think that's not just in the context of just powerlifting. It's like when you have a lot of other things going on in your life, because we're all humans, right? If we all just had to powerlift and that's all we had to do in our existence, you'd probably be okay. But like we all have roles, responsibilities, even like juniors, you know, like they're studying at school or, you know, there's so many other variables that you don't know like what is going on with someone that I think if those are high and then I'm also putting pressure on myself to still perform at a high level, that is where I'm like, what's the point?
If you weren't a coach or a physio, say for example, you were just like, I don't know, corporate or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're doing powerlifting, but things got really busy with work, like the same workload that you take on as a physio and online coach, for example. Would you feel like you would be more inclined to like take a break and quit? No.
Because even when, like, obviously you said like in corporate, but like even when I was studying to be a physio, so like I didn't really have any like inclination to my work at that point in time to like keep training, as in like it wouldn't affect my job or like developing my own career and position, I guess, like within the community. And I was still getting up at 5 a.m. to train, and then I would go to placement from 8 to 6, and then I would go home and like have some of my Gen Pop PT clients. And I was so busy, and I remember like feeling so fucked all the time. But like to me, training was important, and it was my me time. And
It was also some of the best training
I've ever done.
you've done.
But do you think that you, like, say for example, you weren't actually that into powerlifting at that time? Do you think that just normal training could have replaced that? Or was it specific powerlifting that made you feel really good, like got you through those days?
Specifically powerlifting, I think. I think there's something about powerlifting training that is different to standard training. I think there's something that's, it's more empowering to me personally to feel like I'm constantly in the process of becoming, constantly in the process of trying to become the strongest version of myself. And that is, that's a feeling that like hypertrophy training, as much as I still enjoy it, like I like having muscle on me. I like, you know, I'm still allowed to like care about my physique. There is something about powerlifting training that just can't replace anything else I've ever tried. And so even when I don't really feel like training, or I've had moments where I'm like feeling so overwhelmed where I'm like, what's the point? I just have this weird like compulsive, I just show up anyway. And eventually I find joy in training again, and that's usually communicating with my coach.
Well, Alex, you've been powerlifting for a long time.
Yep.
Have you ever had any thoughts of quitting or taking a break or hanging up the shoes?
I've only
Scotch
ever
shoes.
like pondered the idea of what would it look like if I did something else. I've never actually seriously considered quitting. When I started competing, I was still playing basketball up until reasonably recently. So I had another outlet, and powerlifting wasn't the only thing that I did. So I never got myself to a point where I was burnt out from powerlifting because I always had other stuff. And I think that was like probably a big reason why I stayed in it so long initially, because there were periods where training wasn't going well, or I got injured, or like I didn't progress, I plateaued, or like I had a really bad comp. And I never considered like that would be my last comp. I never considered that I would quit
Yep.
because at the core, like why I do powerlifting is I actually love competition. I love the training, the very specific training. Like the peaking block is my favorite period of time.
You
the
love
training.
powerlifting.
Like I absolutely love the actual training and I love competing. And I haven't had the same sense of like self-fulfillment playing team sports because it's shared. And I love the shared aspect of it as well because you build these relationships with people and you bounce off one another, you pass to each other, you like help one another on defense, blah, 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 whatever. It's very different. You don't get the same level of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess self-fulfillment is the phrase when you're doing it with others. Whereas in powerlifting, you hit a squat PB, the only person responsible for your squat PB was you.
It was all your hard work.
It was all your hard work. It was all your effort in that moment to do the lift, your execution, the like mental resilience, the confidence that you have going into it. It's like all those little compartments add up to that result. And the way that you feel about that result is you are immediately proud of all of those steps that you took along the way to get you there. And like, I just wouldn't change that for anything else.
Also to add to that, I feel like powerlifting obviously every sport teaches you things, but I feel like powerlifting out of every sport is definitely one to help you build a lot of like mental resilience skills. And obviously we're not like psychologists, but I definitely have, developed a lot more. I hate the word discipline, but like I remember even finishing Worlds and like I had sacrificed a lot to get there. And I remember my dad, who is a psychiatrist, saying to me, like, what you have learned from putting yourself through that is that you are capable of anything you put your mind to, and that will translate throughout everything for the rest of your life. And like, I'm so proud of you for being able to dig deep and keep pushing. And like, yes, I was fortunate enough to be able to do that in that circumstance, but like life will always throw you lemons and it's your choice what you do with the lemons. And so like that skill definitely, I feel like translates, particularly when it's all on you compared to like another sport. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, like you can have an amazing game in a game of basketball. You can play really well, make every shot you take, but your team still lose because other guys on your team don't pick up the slack. Like, that's very possible.
Yeah, that's true.
Same thing can happen in the inverse. You can have a terrible game and not make a shot at all, but the other guys on your team do make shots and you still win. So, like, in a way, you are less responsible for the outcome than in an individual sport like in powerlifting. And also, powerlifting is the only sport I can think of, I guess weightlifting as well, where it is you versus no one. Whereas even in a singular sport like tennis or boxing or something where you have an opponent, you have an opponent and you can do things to take away from them. They can do things to take away from you. In powerlifting, it is you versus a barbell. The barbell is not your opponent. The other lifters are your opponent, but their lifts don't affect your lifts. Your lifts don't affect their lifts. You make a lift, it doesn't take 5 kilos off their lift. It doesn't do anything other than add pressure in the moment. So like the very like activity and the event of a powerlifting competition is you cannot hide from the result. It is what it is, and it is extremely honest. And that's another thing that I love about it is it gives you the feedback that you need in the most honest way possible, that no other sport can do. Like, I can bring it back to basketball example. I can shoot the shit out of the ball but maybe the other team wasn't guarding me at all and I was just open all game. That's not really a reflection of me being able to shoot really well because I wasn't being defended properly. In powerlifting, 250 kilos is 250 kilos. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what platform you're on, it weighs the same thing. It's not lying to you. It can't hide at all.
It teaches you to take responsibility. Like that's something that, a lot of people really struggle with is like owning your own actions, right? And so like I said, like there's just so many things that I think translate into real life. And like, yeah, it's taught me a lot of skills that I think make me a better person.
That's great.
So no, I haven't considered quitting.
What about you, Kelvin?
Oh, that was the question.
My plan, my actual goal is to compete until I get to M2s.
Why not M3 or 4?
16 years away. Let's just get to M2 first.
Okay, fair enough.
Like this is my 13th year competing.
Yep.
And I got another 16 to go till M2s. That's my goal for now. So we'll see.
For me, I think that my journey with powerlifting in the past few years they've been really like high highs and also really low lows. For those who don't know, I've had some really unfortunate competition results. I basically bombed out of New South Wales States back in 2022. And so I really wanted to make it to nationals that year. So 6 weeks later, I went to Canberra to compete in ACT States. Didn't bomb out there, hit the national QT, went to nationals in Melbourne. My family was there. They flew out to come watch me, and then I bombed out at nationals. So I've had some pretty unfortunate competition results, which is why whenever my clients go, it's such a bad comp, I'm like,
shut the fuck
No,
up,
you
mate.
didn't.
oh, sweet. Oh, honey. Like, I think during that particular time, it wasn't that I was considering quitting. I honestly felt like I wasn't good enough to powerlift because of those results and those outcomes. I was really questioning my identity as like a powerlifter. And I think also that time I did tie a lot of my identity to powerlifting. I was starting up as a coach. So a lot of my life was about powerlifting and trying to like establish myself as a coach, establish myself as a lifter. So I was in a place where mentally I didn't feel like I was meant to be a powerlifter. Like I'd done so much to try qualify for nationals, drove all the way to Canberra, competed there, qualified only to get the same result of bombing out and getting disqualified at that competition. So during that time, I felt like I wasn't good enough. But I think there was a point when I was like, you know what? I can't give up this way. Like,
you have a choice, right?
I made the decision to not let myself succumb to that and to not quit, not be a quitter.
Because that's easier. Quitting is
easier.
easy.
Just going like, you know what? I'm not made for this. I'm just going to give up and I'm going to do something else. Could have been an option, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to let myself down. So I kept going. And I think ever since then, no matter what result I've gotten from a competition, I've been very grateful simply for the opportunity to compete. And I think without those experiences, my experience, my knowledge, and what I do now as a lifter and a coach will be very different. I definitely wouldn't have the appreciation that I have simply just for rocking up, getting the sessions in, doing my training, competing, if it wasn't for those experiences. But I think also like there have been moments in time when I actually have pulled back from training, like full powerlifting. And the main reason why is because I wanted to concentrate and prioritize other things in my life, like coaching, building my business. I also run like a community organization with line and dragon dancing, and we're becoming more competitive and competing in the sport of dragon and line dancing as well. So I get a lot of fulfillment out of that too. And it does take up a lot of my time. So I think for me, when it comes to powerlifting, it now more than ever though, I see it as something that keeps me really grounded and almost like a baseline in my life is how I kind of see it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I think it took me a while to get here. And it took me a few lessons and a few highs and lows to really understand like powerlifting doesn't need to be like push, and peak all the time. It can literally just be like something that is stable, something that helps you like keep your routine and maintain a routine. So yes, there have been times when I felt like, maybe powerlifting wasn't for me, or there have been times when I've had to pull back because there were just other things going in my life. But I think that I'm at a point in my life now where powerlifting is very much integrated into my life, where it just feels like it's just something that I do. It's part of my life, which is good.
I think that's also like stripping away from the all or nothing mindset, right? Which like a lot of high achievers often really struggle with, or perfectionism, because it's like you put because you're such a hard worker and you put like high expectations of yourself and you work really hard. If you don't hit those goals or achieve those things, it's like, well, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah,
exactly, because you want to be top of that. And I think that's really common in powerlifting with like a lot of people like that are drawn to the sport. And so being aware of that as a coach, I feel like is really important and really helpful.
Yeah. I think you having those experiences early in your career, Kelvin, makes you a lot more empathetic with your clients, which is one of your real strengths as a coach, is that you're able to like put yourself in the client's shoes
Sure.
when they have a experience or like a period of time that's difficult or whatever, or a bad comp. And I think that had you not had those experiences as an athlete yourself, you wouldn't have those same skills as a coach. So in a way, like going through that stuff, and I was similar to you, like my first few comps were terrible. Like I went 6 for 9, like 4 out of my first 5 comps.
What about 5 for 9?
But again, same thing for you, Claude. It's just like the experiences that you've been through, the experiences that I've been through have made me realize that not everything comes easily, and not everything is sunshine and fucking daisies all the time.
Yep.
And that if you actually want to get where you want to go, you're going to have to go through some muddy periods, and you're going to have to fucking get on your hands and knees and crawl through it sometimes.
Yep.
And the fact that we've all been in those positions where we've had, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months between PBs, we can then help people get through them
For sure.
in a way that other people wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Cool.
And another thing I wanted to add, I think this is something that I've noticed with you, Kelvin, recently as well, like in the last few weeks leading up to nationals, is that you're actually just having more fun than you were previously. And I think you took the pressure off and you replaced it with like, hey, I'm going to get back to doing what I initially did when I started training. Just like I got into the gym because I wanted to train, I wanted to feel good about myself, I wanted to get stronger.
Yep.
And how do you do that? You do that by like immersing yourself and enjoying the process. And there was like a very clear point in time about like 4 weeks out from nationals where you flicked the switch, and I noticed your training just start to improve, and you just kind of relaxed a little bit.
Yeah,
Whereas
I just feel
previously you were quite like tense and very like anxious about sessions going well.
Yeah.
And you removed that and just kind of allowed yourself to be what it was and enjoy it along the way.
I think that coincides with the feeling of like training just being more stable. I think because I realize that there's no point coming into sessions with these expectations. The only expectation that I have is I rock up to the session and just do my best.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Yeah.
And also that you can try as hard as you can, and you can try and do everything right, and it's still not be the outcome that you wanted, and that has zero reflection on your effort or hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's the brutal part of it. I said earlier, like the bar doesn't lie, and that doesn't mean that like the work that you do to get to that point was like meaningless, but it just means that you have to just keep going if you want to get to where you expect it to be. It just means you're not quite ready yet. You're not quite where you thought you were.
It's also like the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds, that training should be average a third of the time, really good a third of the time, and really shit a third of the time. It's like a quote from one of the like Olympian coaches. And whenever I have a crap session, I always remind myself of that, because training should be average on average.
I actually feel like it's more like 10% of training is horrendous. 10% of training is amazing. And like 80% of training is just like, it's just training. It's just like tick the box, turn up, do the thing, move on.
Yeah. I mean, moving on.
Yep.
Moving on to our last segment for this episode. The question is, what is it that you still struggle with powerlifting as a lifter or as a coach?
Why don't you go first this time?
Sure. I can go first.
I need to think about my answer.
Why? Because you struggle with nothing.
No, I've just got so many, I don't know which one to pick from.
Oh, I see.
I also just don't want to be controversial.
I think something that I still struggle with lifting is, I mean, I feel like I am finding a solution or an answer to this, basically with what we were talking about before, but training feeling more stable. I think previously I did put a lot of pressure on myself to perform in a certain way in training. And I feel like this is very, very common amongst a lot of lifters, especially new lifters, where they expect to hit a certain number or they expect to like achieve a certain total by a certain time. I think, up until very recently, I was still feeling that kind of way. And I think the reason why was because I felt like a need to be competitive in my weight class in order to feel like I was in a position where I was proud of myself or like I felt like I achieved something. But I've come to realize that the outcome or the position I'm in, like the placing that I get in a competition, the ranking that I am in my weight class, doesn't indicate, is not the only single indication of how well I train and how proud I can be of my training. And I think that I'm learning to remove myself from that and remove attachment to like how I feel about myself or what I think of myself as a lifter, like removing the rankings or like my position in my weight class, and really just focusing on the session itself and training itself, focusing on putting in my best effort and being proud of that in itself. I think that's something that I've been overcoming as a lifter.
Yeah. I think when you realize that your success in a given weight class is more about what happens with the people around you than it is with you, then I think you can get a lot of like peace in just being able to run your own race.
Yeah.
You know, I've said this to clients before, like the first comp I did, I went 6 for 9. I lifted like 25 kilos below what I'd done in training. And I wasn't very happy with how I did, but I won my weight class. And then the second competition I did, I put like 70 kilos on my total, had a great day, like exceeded, you know, my previous comp by so much. But I actually came second in my weight class. And like first versus second, obviously you would assume that I'd be happier with winning than coming second. But I was obviously way happier with the second competition with how I personally went. So for me, that was like a very quick lesson that like I can do well on my own terms and it doesn't really matter where I finish within, you know, the standings.
I think also going into nationals, I think I was nominated 6 or something, right? Was it 6?
I think it was 6, yeah.
Yeah. I was nominated 6, and honestly, like, initially when I had qualified for nationals, which was 12 weeks out from nationals, that's when I started thinking about ranking. I started thinking about, like, oh, how could I rank? Where am I going to be in the weight class? But as I progressed through the prep, it became less of a focus of how am I going to rank, because I really came to understand that I can put in as much effort as I want in my training. I can PR on my total as much as I can, but that doesn't dictate how I rank. It's like you said, the people around you that dictates that.
You could total like 20 kilos above what you did at the qualifier, and the guy who qualified ahead of you could get 30 kilos better.
Yeah.
And like you have no say over how much improvement they make. So where you sit relative to the rankings is like, yeah, of course what you do actually matters, but it's more about what you do relative to you rather than what you do relative to someone else.
I think the reason why this is so front of mind is because in nationals, I was nominated 6th and I ended up coming 4th. But I felt, it was great.
Let's go, Kelvin.
Thank you.
Pat on the back.
Thank you. But I realized that I didn't feel that sense of enjoyment or fulfillment or like sense of achievement coming 4th that I thought I would. And I think the reason why is because I realized me coming 4th doesn't really say anything about me. It says more about how everyone else played the game. So I think it clicked in my head like, yeah, I'm happy with the result. I'm proud of how I ranked, but more importantly, I'm proud of the effort that I put into my training, the fact that it was consistent, the fact that it was stable, and I was able to put up a total that I was proud of and like execute in the competition in a way that I felt was pretty much like my potential. So yeah, that's me. How about you guys?
Me?
You can go.
What do I still challenge with?
Yeah, what do you still struggle with as a lifter or coach?
Hitting squat depth.
It's true.
Well,
I mean,
or making it obvious to the refs that I'm hitting squat depth.
Yeah.
Making it really, really obvious from all angles. I'd say would be my struggle, and not getting overruled by juries.
Obviously, there's like a physical.
Juries hate me. I reckon out of every athlete in Australia, over the last 12 months, I've had more jury overrules than anyone else.
Potentially.
Well, Vicky had 3 in one comp.
Yeah, I've had more than that.
You had 2 in one comp and then 2 in another comp.
Yeah, so I'm
you've had
beating
4.
Vicky.
Yeah, but she had 3 in one comp and then bombed. That was so rough.
That was very, very rough.
I mean,
that was very rough.
obviously,
But
there's
I have had 4.
Yes.
There's a physical challenge to that. But
Yes, I have really long femurs.
Of course, there's a there's a mental challenge with that as well. How do you feel like you've been dealing with that mentally?
I think the most frustrating thing for me is like, even in my Worlds prep, there was a day where Alex and I were training together.
That Wednesday? Where you
Yeah,
did
that Wednesday.
40 singles?
I spent 5 hours down in the gym
Holy moly.
trying to figure out what the fuck was going wrong. And I remember like John and Greta like coming down periodically being like, is she okay? Like I was not okay. But like I think the thing is like people, I feel like when there's a repeatable issue, a lot of people might assume that like, oh, they're just not holding themselves accountable in training, or they're just not trying hard. No, like I really, really have tried for many, 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 many years. And I don't think I could have put in any more effort than I have to create the standard that I expect from myself. And to be honest, like I watched some videos back, and I personally, and like I am now a national level ref. Obviously I'm not like international or anything of that standard, but I watched back some of my videos and I'm like, to me, it looks like my hip crease is below the top of my knee. But if that's not obvious enough, I still need to work on that. And so whether that's getting my elbows out of the way or like trying to just make it look even more obvious that my hip crease is below the top of my knee. Again, we're workshopping for the
7th?
Oh, maybe more.
No,
I think
I
I've
reckon
done
about
more
7.
comps. I think I've done
I think
more
it's about
comps.
7.
But basically every single comp I have done since the first comp I've done, I have had issues. I always like, I'll get one red from one side. I have tried heel inserts in my shoes. I have tried flats. I have tried super wide.
Narrow is looking, what you're doing at the moment is looking like.
We're now trying
most
narrow,
promising.
despite what physiology may suggest that people with wide femurs should go more externally rotated and wider. My hips don't do that very well, particularly in deep hip flexion. And currently I've gone narrow, and for some reason my hips just really like to sit in that. So watch out, guys. Next comp, I think it's going to be my 11th, 10th, 11th comp. I'm going to go 9 whites.
It's going to be the one.
9 whites. It's going to be the one.
What's cool about this is like every comp is kind of like a feedback, like
that's not
what's it called?
cool.
A feedback.
It would be better if it wasn't happening though, Kelvin.
Kelvin,
I know,
Kelvin.
As cool as it is,
It's not cool.
It would be way cooler if
From
it
this
didn't
perspective,
How cool
right?
is it feeling like you're about to have a panic attack before every squat?
From this
'Cause you're
perspective,
like,
it's kind of like, all right, let's see what happens this comp kind of thing, right? You know what I mean?
no, I hate you right now.
sorry. I mean, that's how I would see it.
maybe from an outsider's perspective, but for Claudia and I, who like every comp, we're like, please let us be the one.
Hang on. Let me expand on that. I feel this way about me cramping in comp. Ever since I started cramping back in 2022.
Hey, but I helped you this time. You were right.
Yeah, but he needs to not cramp.
Yeah, we need to
I
drink
did
more.
cramp after my second deadlift, actually.
And you don't even cut weight, man.
I know. So it's the way I see it is like, all right, let's see what happens this comp. Like, let's try this, like, you know, like what happens to my body if I fast, what happens to my body if I sit a bit higher in body weight. You know, it's like kind of like a feedback loop every comp about how my body sort of takes it. You know what I mean?
To me, if anything, the most frustrating thing to me is like, first and foremost, I want to get undeniably like 9 whites just for squat for me because of how much effort I put into it and how much
that's
like
understandable.
In training, I'm like constantly making sure that it looks convincing.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah, and so like
the work needs some sort of payoff at some point.
yeah, I think that's the frustrating part, and it's also like for me, I think there's a component of like embarrassment because I'm a registered physiotherapist. Like I understand, I've studied the human body. I really understand how it works. I coach like a decent amount of athletes. I coach them on, you know, hitting squat depth. I'm a national level ref.
Yeah.
I like there are so many aspects to it, and it's like to me, it's sometimes like it's a bit embarrassing because I'm like it's like I'm already trying so hard, and that's actually comes back to like, have you ever considered quitting? Has also been related to squat depth because it's like the amount of times I've been like to Alex, sending a voice memo, been like, dude, I just really don't think my body is physiologically built this way because I am trying so hard. But hey, we're all good now.
The thing is, you will continue to keep trying, and eventually you'll figure it out because you care enough and it's important enough to you, and eventually it will happen. And then once it does, you'll never have to worry about it again.
Also, I do think, and this is no referee's fault at all, because I will also have this case, is that because I'm now also known for this amongst the community, there is unconscious bias.
At least subconsciously, yes.
Yes,
People will be
like
looking
you
at
can't
your
help
depth
that.
more.
Absolutely true.
It's like when someone comes
that's
out the
not me,
first
like,
attempt and
judging.
they don't hit depth, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
subconsciously you feel that way.
Yeah, and so like
You just
that's
need
kind of known.
It's like Josh Takua going up to squat. It's like he is known for cutting
Squatting
depth
high.
all the time.
Yeah.
And he's going to get high levels of scrutiny. They're going to be watching him closer from his first attempt. It's the same thing as you, Claude. And all it takes is like a couple of comps to prove that, hey, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
And then you don't get that bias anymore.
My super narrow stance is going to be the one.
All right. Alex, had some time to think.
The thing that I struggle with the most as an athlete is taking my own coaching hat off and letting my coach me.
Oh. Get Matty B in. He's right here.
Yeah, we'll get him in. We've actually spoken about this on a podcast before, like, I don't know, episode like 18 or something. My best training always comes when Matt and I put our heads together at the start of a training cycle and we go, hey, here's what we want to achieve. We're going to map it all out. And I have really big buy-in. We essentially like collaborate on the program, write it together, end up with this sort of like planned out 12, 16 week cycle, whatever it is. And it ends up in being a great result. Whenever I start to think too closely about the details as they're going on during the middle of a block or during the middle of a week or during the middle of a cycle or whatever, and then I start to suggest things about, oh, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that, things start to unravel and I lose buy-in, and then it becomes difficult for me to actually like immerse myself in the process of doing the training day in, day out, if there's something in the back of my mind telling me that something could be better. And even still to this day, like I struggle with it a little bit. I'm definitely getting better. I've actually gotten quite a lot better in the last 2 years in particular. But yeah, it's really hard for me to not give my opinion or like turn that part of my brain off that's always thinking about problem solving, because that's what I do all day, every day is I'm looking at my client's training going, what can we fix here? What can we fix there? Could this be working better? Should we add stuff here? Should we take stuff away? And it's really hard for me to not do that with myself.
Fair enough. All right. Anyone else got anything to say? Feel free to leave in the comments, you know, if you had to live with one lift, what would it be? You know, leave it in the comments. Comment below. Let us know. But if you enjoyed this also, leave a comment, tag someone, share it, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out.
Round of applause. Bye-bye.